Hello class, welcome to Geometry Lesson 2-3, which is all about parallel lines and triangle angle sums. After this lesson, you should be able to solve problems using the measures of the interior and exterior angles of triangles. Before we jump in, I just have to share something with you guys. So I got up extra early and came into school to record this lesson because Miss Johnson procrastinated. You know, the thing I tell you guys not to do, I did that. And I just finished recording this entire lesson, and turns out my microphone was not turned on. So I am re-recording this lesson now. Yay! Alright, now that I've shared that, let's jump into the lesson. Let's talk about Theorem 210 to start. So we have through a point not on a line. So let's say that point is point P right now, and since it's not on the line, I'm going to look at line B. Through a point not on the line, there's one and only one line parallel to the given line. So that means if I gave you point P and line B, there's only one way I can draw line A to go through point P where it would still be parallel to line B. Then Theorem 211 is the triangle angle sum theorem. That's something that you've learned about for several years now, that all of the sum of the measures of all of the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So if you take all of those angles inside the triangle and add them together, you should end up at 180. All right, so let's use the triangle angle sum theorem and find what are the values of x and y. So if I look for x, I see, hey, that's inside the smaller triangle here. I know that all of my measures need to add up to 180, so I can say x plus 78 plus 32 equals 180, or x plus 100, oops, that was not a plus 110 equals 100, I can't write to save my life today, 180, so x equals 70 degrees. And then to solve for y, I can look and see, oh hey, y is in this smaller triangle. And I have I could do 57 plus y plus, wait, I don't have that third angle inside that smaller triangle, so I can't solve it that way. So let's try again. If I have this whole triangle, maybe I can solve it then. I could do 57 plus, we said x is 70, plus, but I still don't know what that measure is inside there. I know that this is 32 and this is x, so I could say 57 plus 70 plus 32 plus, we'll call it A, equals 180. That way I could solve for this angle measure here and then do the smaller triangle like I first tried. Or I can look and say, or look and see, here's angle y. It forms a linear pair with 78. So I can do y plus 78 equals 180. And I'm left with y equals 102 degrees. Both of these ways are acceptable. You can solve it either the way that I just did where I got the 102, or you could finish solving here and then do the 57 plus y plus whatever a is and set it equal to 180. Either of those ways, I'm okay with. It's all about you using information that you know. All right, go ahead and use the triangle angle sum theorem to find the values of x and y. Good luck. Hopefully you ended up with x equals 64 by using the triangle angle sum theorem, and then you could use the fact that x is a vertical angle with the missing angle in the other triangle in order to solve for y, and you ended up with y equals 74 degrees. If you have questions about that, please be sure to reach out for some help. All right, now let's talk about the triangle exterior angle theorem. The measures of each exterior angle of a triangle, so that would be angle 1 right here, equals the sum of the measures of its two remote interior angles. So what it means by two remote, this means that these two interior angles are not touching the exterior angle. So if you look at angle 3, that's not touching angle 1, and neither is angle 2. So those are considered the remote interior angles. If I had an angle 4 right here, do you see how that's touching angle 1? It forms a linear pair with angle 1. We don't want to use the angle that forms a linear pair. So you need the two remote interior angles. Now let's apply the triangle exterior angle theorem. So in example A, we want to find the missing angle. And we can see that angle 1 is an exterior angle. So in order to solve for that, I just have to add my two remote interior angles. So I say 45 plus 75 equals the measure of angle 1. And 45 plus 75 would give me 120 degrees equals angle 1. Now, in letter B, I'm given the exterior angle, and I want to solve for one of my remote angles. So I say 51 plus the measure of angle 2, because that is my other remote interior angle. I say it's equal to 109. And if I subtract 51 from both places, I'm left with 58 as my answer. Now, why don't you go ahead and try to solve? This time, see, are you solving for a remote interior angle or are you solving for the exterior angle? And then set up your problem to solve. Hopefully you saw you had two remote interior angles and you were solving for the exterior angle. So all you had to do is add your two numbers together in order to find the exterior angle. All right, now let's talk about example 3, where we apply all of those triangle theorems that we've talked about. So the sum of the interior triangle angles and the exterior triangle angle theorems. We're even going to use some of the other information we've talked about in this chapter. Okay, so Cheyenne built this display for her ornament collection. Each shelf is parallel to the base. So here's the base, and then the other shelf that is parallel is right there. So I've highlighted them in purple. She recalls only the angle measures shown in the diagram. Now she wants to build another just like it. What are the measures of angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3? So I want to know angle 1 equals what, angle 2 equals what, and angle 3 equals what. All right, so if I start with angle 1, I can see that's kind of close to a parallel line. And if I draw out the line that helps form it, I can see I have a transversal. And angle 1 doesn't quite touch the parallel line, but if I bring it down and combine it with that 55, it becomes a corresponding angle with 75. And we know that corresponding angles between parallel lines are congruent. So we can say 75 equals the measure of angle 1 plus 55, or the measure of angle 1 equals 20. And I got that by using corresponding angles. You don't have to write that down. I'm just writing it down as kind of a reference point for you guys. Then let's start over on our picture. And we're going to look at angle 2 and try to figure out how can we solve for angle 2. So again, I have those shelves that are parallel, and angle 2 is this angle right here. It touches this line. So that would be my transversal between the two parallel lines. And angle 2, if I look at it, has an alternate interior angle. And what do we know about alternate interior angles between parallel lines? They are congruent. So I can say angle 2 equals 55 degrees. Now let's try to solve for angle 3. If I look at angle 3, it's all the way over here on this side, right? That doesn't really touch one of the parallel lines, but if I look, it is part of a larger triangle, so let's use that information. I see that this larger triangle, I know that that's 45, and this is also 45, so I can say 45 plus 45 plus this whole angle, so that would be 55 plus angle 1 we said was 20 plus whatever the measure of angle 3 is, that all has to equal 180. So if I simplify it, I have 90 plus 75 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 180. I can combine my 90 and 75 to get 165 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 180. Subtract 165 from both sides, and I'm left with the measure of angle 3 is 15 degrees. Okay, so always start by looking for triangles that you can solve, look for parallel lines and angle relationships, look for exterior angles that you can use to solve. You'll get a wide variety, okay? Now, take the same picture, and instead of solving for angle 1, 2, and 3, I want you to look at this picture, and I want you to solve for angle 5. Good luck. Hopefully you used the fact that 5 was in that smaller triangle, and then you saw that you had the other two angles, so you could solve for the third. And when you solved for angle 5, you ended up at 80 degrees. If you have any questions about this problem or anything else from the video, please feel free to reach out and ask for some help. I'm more than happy to assist you. Have a great day.